learning to be your servants in love and grace in order to welcome all. Guide us now as decisions are made and plans are confirmed. We pray boldly today through the grace of Jesus Christ and with the confidence of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Well, again, I appreciate you being here this morning. If you have not been to one of our congregational meetings before, it's only, the 2 or 3 hours go by really fast. So, no, hopefully that won't happen. What we're going to start with, I know in a cabinet meeting not too long ago, we were talking, and I was sharing a bit of a frustration that we have on the nominating committee, which is, we don't always know all of the people in the congregation, especially as we grow. And we don't know what skills, talents, interests people have. And one of the things we want to do is that as we talk with people, some of our individuals here in the congregation don't know what our committees do. And I thought, wow, wouldn't it be nice if we took just a few minutes to have the committees, one at a time, come up and present just an overview of what they do and what their time commitments are, that sort of thing, because perhaps in the future you would then have an interest in serving on a specific committee. And we'd like you to be as knowledgeable as possible, and also to share with the nominating committee. And you can see on the list of people who that nominating committee will be going forward. You can talk with us to let us know what your interests are, so that we could help you find a place to serve, as many of you want to serve. And I do know also, as an aside, that sometimes people slide off of a committee for a host of reasons. One of which is because term limits. We have this thing called term limits. And we just feel that it's important for a person, when they reach their term limit based on the bylaws, that they have an opportunity to go to another committee or take a year off, because sometimes it can be pretty intensive in kinds of work that is done. So we want to give people the latitude and flexibility to be able to move on. And so that's why at times people do slide off a committee and then go on to another committee or take a year off. And we think that's good too. So given that, what we're going to do is give you a brief overview of the different committees. And please look, and this is a sort of a note for all of you that will be presenting here in the next couple of minutes. I'm going to go down just the order that we have here in terms of our committee members. And so we start with cabinet, then go into staff parish, so you can see who you follow as such. And if I don't know that you don't have anybody on your committee to present, Pastor Dylan or I will be glad to make something up. Share some insights about your committee and the work that you do. So let's go ahead and start. Cabinet. As the chair of the cabinet, one of the things I have the pleasure of doing is being part of the main governing body of Okemos Community Church. We typically meet monthly to discuss financial health of the church, along with really listen to and talk about the great work that's being done on all of the other committees. We focus on the work and vision of our pastor and other staff, and we administer various other aspects of church government. Several cabinet members are also chairs of other committees. And so Dave for trustees, we have Daisy for finance, we have Jim for staff parish, are serving at least double duty. And other people are, as they come onto the cabinet, we like to assign different task responsibilities. One of the main tasks that we have been working on this year is updating our bylaws. We just think knowing what the work is of each committee, and making sure that the committees are doing the work that they thought they were supposed to be doing is pretty critical. And so it has been a number of years since the bylaws had been updated. I think it was 2007. So we figure whether it needs to be changed every 20 years or not, we think we should do it. And so it's long overdue. So I appreciate those committees that have made their modifications and look quick, for a quick response from the other committees as we can get these updated as such. So the cabinet oversees those meetings, and like I said, we meet monthly and have great conversation and discussion. So that's a little bit about the cabinet. I'm going to turn it over to Jim for Staff Parish.
Thank you, Lou. SPRC is Staff Parish Relations Committee. The functions of that committee are that we assist the pastor with personnel issues, so that kind of almost is the first thing on our agenda each meeting. We also make recommendations to the Cabinet and Finance Committee regarding appropriate working conditions, salaries, and benefits for the pastor and for our staff. In addition, we do an annual evaluation of the pastor, and that's required by the Michigan Conference. And we oversee the evaluations of our staff, which are done by usually their supervisor. So that's basically what we do. We've had a very busy year this past year, as you maybe sense from what's happened in our congregation. We meet for 1 to 2 hours once a month, and generally during June, July, and August, we try to meet on an as-needed basis. We all look forward to that kind of break. And I guess in terms of who should serve on this committee, I guess my sense is the most important issue or qualification is people who are actively involved in the church. I think we want representatives who can say, well, I've been talking to my group of relations in the church, and here's what I hear. These are very important things for us to hear and for our pastor to hear. So that's SPRC.
Dave, Board of Trustees.
I'm Dave Walsworth. I'm chair of the Board of Trustees, and I wanted to read the purpose from the Constitution for the Board of Trustees. The purpose of the Board of Trustees is to act as the legal entity and business agent for the church as outlined in the Constitution. We are the fiduciary for the church. We report to Cabinet, but we have a number of groups reporting up to us, including Buildings and Grounds. We're mainly responsible for the upkeep of the physical plant of the church, the insurance, the liability insurance. Last year, we put a new membrane flat roof on the education wing because we were leaking. Those are the things that we do. Who should be part of the committee? Anyone who can listen. Anyone who can, and not listen to me. No, I have to listen too. It's important to listen to the folks who are telling us what they need and then bring that together with what are our resources and try to figure out what is the best, most thoughtful way forward that won't kick a problem down the road, unless we have to. We've been blessed that we haven't had to do that, and will not set up the next generation for a headache, but always trying to think in the future. So if you can dream, if you can plan, if you can listen, finance background, insurance background, realty background, all good things, but it's more important to be able to listen and plan for the future. We normally meet monthly. 2 hours is what's scheduled. Sometimes we need the 2. Once we've needed more, usually we need a little less. We will be meeting in July. Sorry, folks, but we've got the report coming back from the solar group. So many of you have attended the town hall meetings on looking at what can we do with solar. And we'll hopefully have a recommendation from the solar group to bring forward. We've got to figure out how to pay for that and what resources we have in place without outstripping our emergency resources for the future. Because again, we've got to plan for the future, whatever that may be. Join us. Larry, for Buildings and Grounds?
I'm Larry Judge. I'm head of Buildings and Grounds. I tell my family of professional builders back home that the reason I do this job at the church is because where I live, I'm regarded as a handyman genius. And they think this is hysterical because they all say, you don't know anything. So, but I did grow up on a farm, so I'm pretty handy with things. And then I have a high level of OCD, which allows me to see things that other people may not notice. Like, for example, this southmost AC unit here of our 7 mini splits doesn't look like it's working right. So I will point that out to Mark tomorrow. It's like, I think that unit's not operating right. So, but yeah, as Lou said, I do kind of the day-to-day things. Mark Bruner, as you probably know, is our maintenance custodian. You may have seen him or met him, but he's great. We were so blessed to find him. He's so knowledgeable. And I text or call with him several times a week on the day-to-day things that we're working on at the church, or things break, which at my family farm we have a saying. So why do things break? Because they can. So there's no reason sometimes. But a big thing we do is ongoing maintenance. Heating and cooling is a big thing, like the AC unit or our boilers or our 5 rooftop units. As Lou said, the roof was a major project here that we completed. Our big project coming up probably is the parking lot, but also many of you are aware of the solar, so involved in that too. So yeah, and my committee doesn't meet a lot, kind of as needed, but we'll probably start meeting more as we get closer to really kicking off the I guess, planning for the parking lot project. So that's what we do.
All right. Do we have someone from Memorial? Okay. The name is the Memorial Committee, and the purpose of the Memorial Committee is to solicit and receive bequests, gifts, wills, trusts, and legacies in the form of memorials. Gifts as memorials shall be used to meet the current needs of the church in a manner agreed upon by the Memorial Committee and the wishes of the donor, his or her family, and other interested parties when possible. The purpose is to accept or acknowledge the gifts, maintain records of the amounts donated, and to make recommendations to the Board of Trustees relative to their use when required. Typically, the group meets 3 to 4 times a year with individual work and responses to inquiries in between those meetings. What specific skills are needed in individuals who might want to consider this group? Good organizational, administrative, and communication skills. Good understanding of the church, its various committees, administrative structure. Good handwriting, and is very helpful. And so it's a lost art in some instances, especially if you've ever seen anything from my son. But it is an important skill. That's a little bit about Memorial. Next is endowment.
My name is Tom Lovick. I'm on the Endowment Committee, which is a pleasant committee to be on because we don't meet more than once a year. And yeah. And we get to hand out money, so that's always it can be a pleasant opportunity. Anyway, let me read what Lee, the chairman, has prepared. The endowment fund was created in 1989 to receive contributions for the long-term financial benefit of OCC. The principal is invested and only a portion of the earnings each year are awarded for grants to enhance the programs of OCC or for capital improvements. In addition, projects that enhance our outreach into the community are considered. The Endowment Committee is responsible for these 3 things. We are the stewards of the OCC Endowment Fund, currently totaling about $950,000. We monitor the investments and make any changes necessary, necessary. Number two, we calculate the amount available for the annual grants based on a historical formula of 4% of the average investment balances over the prior 12 quarters. And finally, we solicit and evaluate requests for grants. The grants requests are should be submitted by around February 15th in case you are interested in submitting one. Time commitments are minimal. The committee meets only once or twice per year to discuss the grant requests. The skills required are the ability to evaluate ideas for grants and relate them to the stated purposes of the endowment fund. So that's it in a nutshell.
Next will be finance, and we will also ask Deb to talk about communion stewards.
Thank you. Daisy could not be here today, so I am subbing as apparently one of the more senior members of the Finance Committee. I had no idea I was on that committee that long. But okay, this is my last year at this point. But the Finance Committee plans and executes the annual generosity campaign. We prepare and present an annual budget to the Cabinet and the congregation for approval. We monitor the receipts and expenditures and take actions as necessary to satisfy financial obligations of the church that are authorized by the Cabinet. And we conduct an annual review of all financial records. Schedule counters and check processors to deposit the checks and document the monetary gifts after Sunday service. Many of you may not know, there's teams that go to the back of the office at the end of every service we hold and process the checks so that they are immediately processed and everything is secured for the church. So that's a big piece of what a large group of volunteers does. So time commitments for members of the Finance Committee include 1-hour meetings, 6 to 7 months during the year, and they are only an hour. Pastor Dillon can attest to this. They are an hour. Daisy is a taskmaster with that. She's great. Additional time would include a 3-hour time commitment on a Saturday in February to do a financial review of the church. And so that is a bigger time commitment, that one day. And then an hour to schedule the counters and check processors. That happens quarterly. And about 3 hours to complete generosity campaign tasks, which is not 3 hours a week. It's just a total of 3 hours as we work through how to present the generosity campaign to the congregation. And then 2 designated agents accept the pledge cards, verify quarterly statements, and send thank you notes throughout the year to members of the congregation. So the skills that are helpful is a working knowledge of Excel and Word, having creative ideas, and being comfortable working with numbers. So if anybody's interested, please reach out and let us know. And then regarding the communion stewards, I've led that group for a number of years as well, and it's a joy to do that. We are able to prepare the sacraments for communion on a monthly basis. During the Easter holiday and the Christmas holidays, it's a few times more frequently, as you know, when we serve communion. And so we prep the elements, and then we clean up after the service and put all the things back. When the church was renovated, we moved up from the basement, which we were kindly allowed to use the basement's kitchen downstairs, but we actually have a prep sacrosanct back there with the renovation. So that's been great. So if anybody's interested in contributing to the church service in that way and preparing the sacraments, that would be, we'd welcome you to join us. So just let me know.
Thanks, Deb. Next, we will have, I know Karen could not be here for the Mission Committee, so I will read what she has put together for us. The Mission Committee. The Missions Committee establishes the list of designated monthly missions for the Okemos Community Church. It reviews the mission's financial report and seeks clarification when needed. It considers sponsorships for outreach in cases of special need or in emergency situations as they arise. It also maintains the missions bulletin board as needed. Time spent. Currently, several of our committee members have direct responsibility for specific monthly missions. These members devote significant time to their mission. At-large committee members spend an average of an hour every month. Skills needed: willingness to share new ideas and insights. Also, personal devotion to the church mission process. If you have questions, Karen would be a good contact. All right, next will be the Congregation Connection Committee. And, oh, there's Elaine. Wonderful.
Good morning. I'm Elaine Putfin, Chair of Congregation Connection. When we revised our bylaws, we decided to change the name of the committee because we were the membership committee, and sometimes called membership and growth. And then when we looked at the 2007 bylaws, we found there was 2 different committees, membership committee and a growth committee. So we were doing double duty. And we said, no. Actually, both of those committees overlapped quite a lot. We decided membership didn't really describe our congregation because you don't have to be a member to belong to OCC. So that's why we changed the name. I'll briefly tell you what we do. Foster fellowship between congregants is what we feel our purpose is directed or approved by the pastoral staff. The main connection historically, when I got on the committee years ago, was to plan the fall kickoff, a big barbecue or meal after church in the fall to sort of lead off the season. And so we were party planners, basically. We decided we needed to do more than that one thing a year. So we took on preparing a pictorial directory for the church, which was published in 2019, and it's kind of the rock that a lot of people use today as something on paper, but it's very outdated. And we really would like to start encouraging people to use Church Center, although we are not armed to train people to do that. So I think that's something that we're going to try to get more into, because I know a lot of people coming into the church new don't really know what Church Center is and don't know how to set it up and use it. It's an app on your phone. Anyway, we participate now in the monthly OCC intro and tour that the pastor does every month. We're not doing that in the summer, but it's a little introduction after church, one Sunday a month, and then we give a tour because we found that people didn't really know all the parts of the church, and they wanted to see what's downstairs, what's upstairs, what's in the education wing, and what is that dungeon anyway that people are talking about. That's where we store our rummage. We also started looking at the physical decor of the building because we wanted to stretch our wings a little bit more, and we started initiating a few changes, like moving some of the artwork so that it was more visible. Identifying the Welcome Center with a sign on it that says welcome, so we know what that desk out there really is for. And thank you very much to Kitty Mitchell for really leading that effort with the Welcome Center. We've worked with the pastoral staff to identify and recognize our 50-year members of the church, and those achieving age 90 and above are now recognized during church. Probably the most popular thing we do is the monthly birthday cake celebration after church. So we decided, let's do some more partying. So we a designated week. It's advertised on the church calendar. We do birthday cake after church, and we've expanded to have white cake and chocolate cake, and there's also gluten-free, dairy-free options. We meet just for an hour and a half monthly, as needed. We don't always meet every month. And that's pretty much what we do. What are the skills required? Well, you got to like people, I guess. That's about the only thing. Looking at the list you were given, Kathy Montville was inadvertently left off of our list. But we do have a couple new members on our committee, so I'm looking forward to working with everybody. You'll see that I am listed as membership chair under the nominating committee. Well, that's our old name. And I noticed I'm now placed on the Missions and Outreach Committee as the blood drive chair. I am taking signups for the blood drive. If you'd like to donate blood or donate some food to feed the blood donors, it's Thursday, July 23rd during the afternoon. So thank you very much, Lou.
All right. In lieu of the names listed, you can see Christian Education is listed as coming soon or under construction. That's a committee that's had a period of transition, and so we were at work trying to re-engage folks in that and re-establish it as a church committee. But they are the committee that does the work of Christian education, supporting that programming for children, youth, and for adults, the ways in which we come together to learn about our faith together. And so folks who are good for that committee, and if you're interested and want to be a part of reimagining, let me know. Folks who are good for that are those who are interested in that work, in supporting the education, growth in faith across the ages for folks here at OCC.
I have already talked a little bit about nominating committee. We have a group of individuals that really we start meeting in January, February timeframe, and then look at the existing slate of who has been serving on committees that year, or the last year, I should say, and then to start thinking about who has requested in one fashion or another to perhaps leave where they are. And some people, again, have raised a hand saying, could I please be considered for a certain position, a certain committee, et cetera. So then we go about trying to move individuals or to have, again, the number of individuals per committee based on the bylaws, so that we can be consistent and in compliance along those lines. And again, we love to get fresh perspectives in the different committees, because again, new eyes can help us see things that we have perhaps missed. And so we are encouraging people to think about, where's your interest? Where's your passion? What would you like to do? And is there a way that we could, again, tap that this year or next year? So, again, we meet on a monthly basis starting in January, February timeframe, and we are just wrapping up at this point in time. And so, again, you can see, as with every committee, the number of individuals that we have. We just want to make sure that we know all of you in terms of your interests. And also, we want to make sure we know the committees and the work that they're doing, so that we try to balance that. So that's a little bit about nominating committee. And then, Martha, I'm going to turn it over to you for music worship.
My name is Martha White, and I want to thank Lou for providing an opportunity to really shine some light on a committee that maybe not a lot of people have given a lot of thought to, and that's the Music and Worship Committee. Worship is really the central experience of being part of Okemos Community Church, and the music ministry is key to that. Whether you are worshiping in person,
in the choir, in the pew, or wherever you happen to be by the live stream. I would also like to acknowledge and express my appreciation to two individuals who have provided outstanding service to the Music and Worship Committee, and that is Gary Mitchell and Julie Chamberlain. I would also like to welcome 3 new members to the committee: Linda Ahrens, Terry Brown, and Tom Youngville. In contrast to some committees, the Music and Worship Committee does not have a textbook definition. Our central role is to support the music ministries, which includes acting as a liaison with the Director of Music Ministries, D. Mason Walker, which we are very fortunate to have in that role. And to a certain extent, I think we kind of see ourselves as talent scouts. I find myself listening in the pew to voices that I think would be wonderful to be up front in the choir. And so I want you to consider ways that you might actively participate. I also think that we have tremendous talent, musical talent within the congregation, and it's just such a joy when I see people taking an active role, in addition to serving in the choir. At one point, I think there was the understanding that you had to be in the choir in order to serve on the Music and Worship Committee, and that is not the case at all. I'd like to really invite you to contact and be in touch with the Music Worship Committee through Church Center or by contacting me, Martha White, through email. I think it would be, we all have ideas and opinions, and I think it would be wonderful if there was some way to more systematically find out what's in the hearts and minds of people as they are sitting there and participating in the worship experience. As far as time commitment, our committee meets by Zoom. We started doing this during the pandemic, and it has worked so well that we have continued to meet in that fashion. So again, I really hope you will join me in supporting the music ministries and through thought and prayer.
Thank you, Martha. Now I understand why Martha no longer sits by me. She has heard me sing and knows she needs to go somewhere else. So, no. I hope this activity was helpful. It helps me to just continue to see where the committees are keeping their fingers on the pulse, what they're working on, what's most important. We get quite a bit of that information in our monthly cabinet meetings, but this is helpful. Again, hope it was helpful for you. In fact, I would want to also ask everyone that served this last year in a capacity on a committee or has their name identified here for the 26-27 members, please stand and receive some recognition of appreciation. Thank you very much. All right. Well, the next activity is to look at the slate of members identified to serve on the different committees with the one addition. Elaine, tell me again the name of the person? Kathy Montville. Please add Kathy under the Congregation Connection Committee. And with that addition, I think this is reflective of who we have identified for the different committees. And so what I would like to do is to ask if anyone would suggest that we accept this slate and then vote. So moved. Do I have a second? All right, Scott, thank you. All right. Now I would ask that we vote for accepting this slate of committee members for 26-27. All in favor, please say amen. Opposed, same sign. All right. We have approved the slate of officers, so we are set. So I did want to mention, just to be clear, in terms of, I appreciate the bold reflecting the new members. My name is bold under cabinet, and I believe that only reason for that is because I am bold. So you know better than that. So, all right. Next is going to be our pastor's report. Dylan.
Thanks, Lou. The pastor's report is always a part of this, and I never know quite what to do with the word report. It's not a written thing. I don't have any statistics to present, and there's something kind of funny about trying to report to you all of the things that you were already there for. So some of this is a collective memory. Some of it is an opportunity just to name the moment where we are, and some of it is a chance to look forward into whatever it is that God might be doing for us. There's been a number of things, of changes, of challenges, and of joys that have come over the last 6 months since the last time we had a congregational meeting. Among the highlights for me are Easter, the absolutely incredible musical experience that we had here for Good Friday, gathering together with other churches and doing an ecumenical service for that. Our choir was the best of the choirs, but it was fun hearing them with others and all of the musicians, and then Easter and moving to 2 services to accommodate more folks in worship with us, and just the joy that was. Among all the things, though, that we did over the last 6 months, the thing that I find myself going back to isn't any single thing, but is a continual gift of this place and the people that you are and the way that you are the church that this is, which is to say that as has so often been the case with this last 6 months, I've heard again and again what a joyful experience it is to come as a new person to this congregation, how welcomed folks are when they come. And I've seen the fruit of it, as folks come and they say, I've been looking for a church and this one feels right, and then they stay. And they make this their church home, and they embrace, adopt, and continue reflecting that very same character that has been part of Okemos Community Church for so long. There's such a gift that you continue offering in your welcome, your grace, and your love as a church. And so I want you to know that I see it, and that is just a joy. And I think that's the thing that has sustained this church up until this point. It is what marks this moment, and it's what we have as we're looking towards the future as well, with whatever the future might bring. The trustees are talking about solar panels and parking lots, and that's well and good, and I'm hoping for those things. But I am mostly interested in seeing who it is that God continues bringing to us, how we continue embracing them into this community of faith, and how we continue living and growing our faith together. There's so many incredible things that God is doing here, and it is my deep joy and deep privilege to be here for it. So thank you for being the church that you are, and for continuing to be that church in the days to come. I appreciate it. And that's my report. And I think the last of this is to offer a benediction on this time before we go. And so I invite us to go to be the church that God has called us to be, to live with love, sharing that love with those we know, those we have not met yet, our neighbors, strangers, and enemies, and all people, that we might be the people in the church that God has called us to be. Go in peace. Amen.
Winding down, Jack had just asked me if he could have a minute. Let me turn the...
My name is Jack DePong. I